In September of 2014, a Florida pharmaceutical company known as Biscayne Pharmaceuticals released clinical research data that provides evidence that GHRH antagonists may be able to help patients with breast cancer and perhaps other forms of cancer. GHRH stands for growth hormone-releasing hormone. This hormone is produced by the human hypothalamus and stimulates the pituitary gland to produce human growth hormone. It has long been shown effective in the treatment of both childhood and adult HGH deficiency, as well as its derivative forms. In order to stimulate HGH production in patients, physicians prescribe sermorelin and tesamorelin, functional analogs of natural GHRH. These medications share the active component of the GHRH molecule and have the exact same physiological effect on the human body. In addition to its use for patients with growth hormone deficiency, research has shown other benefits related to growth hormone-releasing hormone, and it represents an active area of study in medical science. For example, it has been proven that GHRH has the ability to improve the rate at which tissue heals in the case of injury. The potential issue with growth hormone-releasing hormone is that it also appears to stimulate the growth of cancer cells because of its body-wide effects upon cellular metabolism. Dr. Andrew Shalley was the first to scientifically prove that even cancer cells have activation sites which respond to GHRH. In addition to responding to the production of GHRH, cancer cells also have the ability to produce their own growth hormone-releasing hormone, which appears to be one of the mechanisms by which cancers fuel themselves for growth, in addition to stimulating the creation of new blood cells. Biscayne Pharmaceuticals purchased the licensing rights of the GHRH research produced by Dr. Shalley in order to use that data to produce a new drug which will potentially have the ability to suppress the production of GHRH, thereby slowing down the spread of cancer. A representative of Biscayne Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Norman Block, released the results of their GHRH breast cancer study at the ASCO Breast Cancer Symposium. Dr. Block is a professor of urologic research at the University of Miami, as well as the clinical director of the Endocrine, Polypeptide, and Cancer Institute of the Miami Veterans Affairs Medical Center. Specifically, Biscayne Pharmaceuticals is working on a growth hormone-releasing hormone antagonist, which will have the ability to lock into GHRH activation sites, thereby blocking the ability of GHRH to react with receptor sites present in cancer cells. Thus far, GHRH antagonists have not been thoroughly used for treatment in active patients, but they have been used to treat breast cancer in vitro to much success. They found that almost all common forms of breast cancer respond to GHRH activation, including original, primary tumors, and secondary tumors that have spread to other areas of breast tissue. Although Dr. Shalley's clinical discoveries have been co-opted by Biscayne Pharmaceuticals, he still actively participates in the discovery process for these new GHRH antagonists, along with lead researcher Dr. Block. Based on the data collected thus far, Dr. Shalley is quite convinced that GHRH plays a role in many forms of breast cancer, and probably a large collection of other cancers as well. As a result of this research, he is under the impression that GHRH antagonists will potentially be a part of future cancer treatments. Biscayne Pharmaceuticals is currently working on a number of potential GHRH antagonists, and with the current evidence regarding the potential effectiveness of treatment, the most able of these antagonists will likely be used in active clinical trials in the near future. The GHRH antagonists which have been created so far have been thoroughly studied using animal subjects. In animal research, these GHRH antagonists have proven to be highly effective, though it is never clear exactly how human patients will respond to treatment before human trials begin. Fortunately, the mechanisms of GHRH are relatively well understood by doctors, and most of the effects of GHRH and its species-specific relatives are the same across mammalian subjects. Researchers hope that these GHRH antagonists are not only effective in the treatment of breast cancer, but other forms of cancer as well. In this particular study, researchers examined the effects of GHRH upon a wide variety of breast cancer tissue samples. What they found was that when treated with GHRH, 86% of the samples grew in size or metastasized, while also showing that they responded actively to the GHRH introduced to the sample. They also found that GHRH activated cancer in 78% of liver cancer samples, 71% of brain cancers, The researchers in this study have also used GHRH antagonists in vitro on a variety of breast cancer lines, and there is minimal evidence of side effects resulting from their use on these cancer tissue lines. Based off of this data and the overwhelming evidence that GHRH receptors are located on most breast cancer cells, they will pursue clinical research using GHRH antagonists on live patients. Although GHRH and human growth hormone may encourage the growth and spread of cancer, in patients without cancer, GHRH and human growth hormone produce a number of benefits. These treatments have been used for decades to treat patients with human growth hormone deficiency of both the pediatric and adult varieties. Biscayne Pharmaceuticals is studying the potential ability for GHRH analogs to improve heart health in heart disease patients by actively repairing heart damage. Although this research has not reached human trials, the evidence is promising. Although Biscayne Pharmaceuticals is not clinically testing the hypothesis, there is also evidence that GHRH treatments like sermorelin acetate and tesamorelin may have the ability to aid in the treatment of chronic degenerative neurological conditions such as Alzheimer's disease. If you found this video informative, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel. To learn more about health and wellness regarding hormone replacement therapy, please click the link below in the description.